Should the Las Vegas Raiders listen to trade offers for the number 1 overall pick? We'll play out the entire scenario and what teams can make a Godfather offer. Could be franchise changing in many directions on today's NFL Six Pack.
This is Locked On's NFL Six Pack. 6 bold takes from 2 guys who just flat out know football. NFL experts Matt Williamson and Brian Peacock bring pure NFL talk. Great takes, no fluff, just honest football talk. Crack one open. It's NFL Six Pack on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the NFL Six Pack. Brian Peacock and Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen of the day. And thanks so much for making Locked On the number 1 sports podcast network. And make sure you're all subscribed up on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcasts. And we are talking Las Vegas Raiders. We are getting in the seat of a scenario that, look, you don't bypass the process, right, Matt? This is a long process. Teams are still gathering information. Teams aren't even stacking boards yet because everyone's watching film. Everyone's getting their reports together. The area scouts have done their reports over the course of the fall. And then then the national scouts and cross-checkers get involved. Coaches get involved with their list of players that they're watching for the draft. And then you start stacking it all together once you get all the information, when you get the film grades, when you get the information from workouts and the combine and personal visits, and then you stack the board. So it's a long process. And I know in the media, we kind of have boards, and they're, it's a little bit slower process for the teams because they need to gather information. They need to get it right. And you're not moving guys around, and you're not putting the guy at 30 overall and all of a sudden, he rose to number 12 overall, right? They put it all together later in the process. For the Raiders specifically, Matt, they need to decide at some point what the evaluation is on Fernando Mendoza. And is he so good that you won't even pick up the phone and consider an offer? Because there could be some massive offers, and it could be a perfect storm of a year with only one top quarterback that a team could come calling with an offer that, frankly, might still make you better than even having a really good quarterback in the long term. And so the Raiders, if they're a smart organization, have to at least consider it. And once they've gone through the process, as we're going to go through today, say either we do have to consider this because it's stupid if we don't consider it, or nope, it's not worth it. We like the quarterback option A better. They have to go through that process or they're a bad organization, even if in the end they come to the conclusion of, we keep number 1 no matter what.
Yeah, a couple things. So I want to rewind a little bit how you opened the show, because I'll be driving to Indianapolis all day Monday. And I just want to let people in on what most teams are doing right now. They're not building a board, but they are going into Indianapolis with, these are good positions of strength. This is third round looks like a good spot to get a safety. Tackles are deeper in round 1 than I thought. And then they're also going, how does that conflict, or how does that mesh with our free agent board? People don't think people have a free agent board, but they have a free agent board, much like a draft board, and our team needs. But it also is, what's our agenda in Indy? We know we're going to get all the medical stuff, but boy, I really want to talk to Nussmeier about his injury, or Simpson about the last 4 or 5 games that didn't go as well as the others. And there's numerous, why are you guys playing cover 2 all the time? I want to talk about the safety, you make sure you talk to him. I'll make sure I talk to him, blah, blah, blah. And every team has a meeting every night in Indy. So there's a lot of prep going on, and that's a big reason why we're not getting all kinds of news, because they're semi-hunkered down. They're game planning for their game plan.
Right.
It's kind of like a preseason game,
Yeah. Preseason right now for the draft. And some teams have to cut guys just so they can get under the salary cap.
We saw that in Mahomes.
And then after that, they'll do some more movement as they understand what the free agency market looks like. And it's funny because you start talking about free agents, and it's like, all these 5-year contracts become 2-year contracts really quick when guys start getting cut every February. So it's just a fascinating season in the offseason and how things go. That being said, Matt, I think clearly you're John Spytek and I'm Tom Brady in this situation. And we get to go through as the Raiders Brain Trust and play this string out and what it might look like in the off season. So first of all, we have to start with, okay.
Let me do one more thing here, BP. Like, I hope that they're at least open when they hired a new head coach. I hope they didn't say, we're drafting Mendoza. I hope you like that. I hope that's a selling point for you. Please watch him in your free time before you hire him. This is a done deal. Or Brady and Spytek made that decision because they fell in love with the guy and he's so good.
Yeah.
I think you and I are in agreement that I don't think Mendoza's that type of prospect, nor should they just be deaf to any offers. That sounds crazy to me. Maybe if it was Andrew Luck coming out of Stanford, maybe.
Well, the crazy thing about Luck, and I always think about this, is what were the offers that the Colts got? Because they literally had Peyton Manning.
That's true.
You know, like
Tim Duncan, David.
That's not the easiest guy to say, oh, here's a good prospect. Later, Peyton. You know what I mean? You can't play him together like Tim Duncan and and the
David
Admiral,
Robinson,
right? And David Robinson, right? You can't. And so, and that's how good of a prospect he was. And I'm sure they got some offers, and they're saying, no, this is too good of a prospect. Fernando Mendoza is not Andrew Luck. He's not John Elway as a prospect. No. How about this for a question? Where would Fernando Mendoza have ranked in the 2024 draft, where quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? He might have been the 4th.
I actually did a long segment on this on our Steelers show Wednesday, and maybe we should do something similar, because we went through the last 10 drafts and compared Mendoza now to the quarterback that went first overall in all those drafts. Now, and you have to remember what you actually thought. You have to be honest with yourself. What did you truly think of Burrow and Trubisky and all these guys? And I preface this by saying, like in some drafts, I personally liked a quarterback better than the one that went number 1. I liked Lamar better than Baker. I liked Mahomes better than Trubisky. And I'm not trying to brag because those are the two obvious ones. And, there were some I didn't that were the opposite. I wasn't big on Josh Allen.
Better than Daniels last year.
But if and we did this with that class in particular, like I would take the prospect Cam Ward over the prospect Mendoza. And you can't use anything you learned after the second they were drafted. What did you think of them on draft day? On draft day, I would have taken Caleb, May, and Daniels ahead of Mendoza, but wouldn't have considered Nix, Penix, or McCarthy. Like he's easily 4, and there's a gap on both sides.
Okay, so in history, the Williamson quarterback board would go something like Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Cam Ward, then Mendoza, then
everybody else in the last 2 years.
And Kenny Pickett would not be.
No, of course, right. I thought Nix was a second rounder,
And one more note on the Mendoza evaluation. Good prospect.
Yes.
It's short-sighted, though, in a 1-year snapshot with a potentially franchise-altering move, whether you take the quarterback or consider a trade. It's really short-sighted to be like, we're going to take Mendoza because he's the only good quarterback this year.
Right. You're not going to win the Super Bowl this year either way.
Right.
I think that has to be said. I think you have to call the Cardinals, but especially the Browns.
You don't have to call. You have to sit back and let them
listen.
Yeah. Cause
and especially the Jets.
And in fact, let's do this for the 6-pack angle of this program. Which 6 teams would call the Raiders about trading up? And then we'll get to the bottom of what a trade might look like. And then let's play it out and see if we like Mendoza or the draft pick haul better, because the Raiders, I think, do have to go through this. Maybe they've already done it. Maybe the Mendoza evaluation was finished so early and they had to figure that out early on in the process. But I don't think it's quite such a done deal. I think considerations need to be happening. And maybe in the end we say, you know what, you can't pass on Mendoza.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah. That is the project to answer on today's program. We'll get into the answer of it next. This episode of NFL 6-Pack is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? Well, FanDuel is giving you the opportunity to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your Profit Boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you've already been looking at the board, you're thinking about which teams can make a deep run in the NBA playoffs, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Futures this time of year are super fun because whether it's picking a team to win the championship, grab a conference title, it adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can your pick cash, but it can also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. What 6 teams, Matt, would
this was tough
call the Las Vegas Raiders and make an offer for the number 1 pick in the draft? And it could be a quick conversation, but I think some teams could make an amazing offer. And there's a lot of teams with extra ammo this year. Which 6 teams make that call?
So I came up with 6, but it was hard. I think there's really 3: Cardinals, Browns, Jets.
Cardinals, Browns, Jets, the most realistic. But some other teams might call, and if there's an opportunity, maybe they could go deep into the coffers and find enough that would make a deal happen if that was a possibility.
I was going to say Miami. I just don't think they have any resources to do it. I said the Rams. I mean,
Miami's really possible because there's, you start talking about Waddle, multiple first-round picks. You're going to be a bad team. That Miami might have the number 1 pick.
Miami could maybe do it, right?
They're tearing it down. Like, if you're the Raiders, you have to consider, okay, what's that 2027 pick look like?
That's going to be a huge conversation in the next 20 minutes.
That's the payoff because next year's quarterback class, you might get a better prospect than Fernando Mendoza and all these picks.
Exactly.
That's the payoff. Right.
Yeah, to me, that's the exciting thing about it. So maybe Miami. Maybe Miami could do it. I definitely want next year's first and Waddle before we even,
that's a no-brainer. Has to be part of it. Right. The Rams, though, you're right. Got a couple of first-round picks. They're that type of organization that would do something crazy.
Yeah, I just think they want to win the Super Bowl, and they're not going to give you both first and Puka.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then they can't win.
Quarterback for their Super Bowl window, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say the Vikes. We'll give you McCarthy. We don't think he's worth anything, and 3 first-round picks. And I was going to mention the Steelers, but I just don't think you can get from 21 to 1. It's almost impossible.
Let's just say, okay, what would be you make the phone calls like, all right, listen up. Here's the offer, yay or nay. What would it be?
I mean, here's 21, next year's first. Does that even get me in the door?
No, the first. We've seen, so the 49ers trading up from 12 to number 3 to not even get the first quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
49ers had to spend pick 12 and the next 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
So
I think it's almost impossible to get from 21 to 1.
It would be
whatever. The Raiders, I don't even want Watt.
You would need that rule to change first, where you could trade the next 5.
Right.
Picks, right.
So I left them off. I just think 21 to 1 is almost an impossible dream. Like, there's nothing I could do to make the Raiders say yes that makes any sense at all.
So there is 6 quarterback needy teams that could theoretically make an offer for a quarterback, but to actually get up to number 1, there's really only 3 realistic options, right?
Miami, you talked me into just because I want the number 1 pick overall next year. To me, that's kind of my goal. Is I want to be super close. I want to almost guarantee myself a top 3 to 5 pick next year to consider this. And all those teams, Jets, Cards, Browns, Miami, even with Mendoza, it's possible.
Yeah. And so it probably would take then.
And you're going to have your own pick, which is going to be really high.
You have your own pick already if you're the Raiders. You would want at least one of the picks next year. Would you want, let's get into the Jets portion of this because we kind of know like what the offers would be because the Cardinals would have to beat the Jets offer by a little bit because they're pick 3 instead of pick 2 in this year.
If the Jets really wanted him, nobody's going to beat him.
No, you can't beat the Jets. What they can do because they have multiple picks this year, multiple picks this year, next year.
So and people don't know they have this year's first of theirs, second overall. They don't have to do 1 spot, which is the best pick they can get, obviously. And they have the Colts pick. And then next year, they also have their pick, which is going to be super high, Colts and Dallas, not to mention other round picks. So they have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 drafts.
3 first-round picks in 2027.
Exactly. So they have 5 to offer in the next 2 drafts.
Okay. If you're the Raiders, then would you rather have the Jets pick 16 in this draft or the Jets first round pick next year?
I definitely want the first round pick next year.
Okay.
And to me, that has to be part of the offer or we're not talking.
And it would probably be both. So the Jets offer would probably have to be something, and this is to move down one spot. And that's why you have to consider this and play this
Right.
out.
That's why this is so alluring. You start talking through it.
The Jets would have to offer number 2 this year, number 16 this year, and their first next year.
I do that in a heartbeat. I don't think the Jets do.
You do that if you're the Raiders in a heartbeat?
Yeah. I actually
You're not guaranteed a quarterback next year in that scenario.
No, but between the Jets pick and the Raiders pick, maybe I don't get the first guy, but I'm definitely getting the second or third, or with the ability to get to as high as I want almost.
Not only is it short-sighted to not consider these draft trades, it's actually smarter to play the current market of scarcity of only one quarterback and let a team overvalue that.
Exactly.
And get this offer, because I don't think it's even a slam dunk that you would take that offer. 2-16 this year and next year's first.
Ooh.
Because one is a swap, so you're getting 2 extra firsts, and then the pick swap from 2 to 1.
Right. Okay. Well,
they would ask for more.
I don't want to. I would actually maybe take less. Well, it depends how you value some of these guys. So, if I'm talking with the Jets, I didn't know if I wanted to say this yet, or if we want to go team by team.
Let's just be with the Jets, because clearly they can beat any offer.
Okay.
So you can picture what that offer might have to be for another team to beat that.
I don't know that I need the second pick in the draft to make this deal even work.
If that's not the important part of it,
it's not the important part of it. The Jets might be like, I can string up so much. I'll give you so much stuff if I can pick 1 and 2 in this draft, and so many Jets fans will flood my place, and we'll talk about the best draft class ever, and it'll dwarf what Stroud and Anderson did, because we're going to take Reese and Mendoza, and there's a new era, and boy, just a business that might not be smart football wise, but they rarely do smart football things. Neither do the Browns.
Here's the counter. If I'm the Raiders, I need 2 and 16 this year, your first rounder next year, not the Colts and Cowboys, the Jets first rounder, and Garrett Wilson also. That's the asking price. You meet it, you get the number 1 pick.
Okay. I did this team in my head last night, and I came up with a scenario that I thought both teams would say yes, that was less compensation for that than that.
Essentially, it's the most the Jets would be willing to give up that is the least the Raiders would also accept, like that combination.
Yes.
That meeting point.
The trade that you offered, if they said, okay, what's it take? Jets call the Raiders, say, what's it take? That would be what I came to the table with. And if they don't hang up the phone, we can keep talking. If they say yes, I'm dancing in the streets for that offer. To me, that's an insane amount.
If you're the Raiders.
It's an insane haul to get for number 1.
Yes. That's why you can't just say no.
Right.
Right out of
they might say yes because they have so many picks.
Yeah.
And they'll just draft another wide receiver, or they'll overpay Alec Pierce. And there's some ramifications to this too. I mean, if a deal does get consummated, I'm probably calling the Niners and going to get Mac Jones for a year and just, And I still will draft my quarterback next year.
Here's the other thing, and
this is so many resources. If I'm the Raiders,
and we're going to do a little mock draft now to play this out and see what it looks like for the Raiders. Here's the other thing you can do is when you get the second pick, you're not done. Okay,
I'm still open.
Keep calling me. Let's add more picks. Let's get another second and another third.
Get another young player.
Change the entire franchise because of the scarcity of this one draft. An offer you wouldn't get if there was just a second good quarterback prospect that was much better than, say Ty Simpson.
And you may only move from 2 to 5, but someone's so in love with Reese or whoever, okay, I'll build my team otherwise. Here's my bottom line offer. I think you're going to think it's not enough.
From the
Jets.
Okay.
I'll give you Mendoza and next year's second from the Raiders for 2 Wilson, and the Jets first next year. The Jets first to me has immense value.
So you're getting the Jets first next year and Garrett Wilson to go up from 2 to 1.
I go from 1 to 2. Next year, I give up a second to go to the Jets first, and I get Garrett Wilson. To me, that's like, if we talk this thing out for a week, that would be where we landed.
No.
Not enough.
If I'm the Raiders, I say, nope, it's got to be Godfather. It's got to be a massive offer that I can't refuse because there's no guarantee I'm going to get a quarterback next year.
I think there is.
I mean, you might
between the Raiders and Jets picks, they're going to win 5 games between the two of them.
What if what if the Jets? What if you end up with the 3rd pick in the draft?
Then you take the second best quarterback.
Maybe not as good as Mendoza, and then the whole thing falls apart.
Oh, I've been doing a lot of research. I'm not giving you a hard time, but I bet there's going to be 4 quarterbacks I like better than Mendoza next year.
4,
and there's 8 to 10. And I've been looking. Well, this is a Steeler thing. I've been really looking ahead to next year.
Yeah,
and I think it's going to be a rare class. Like maybe we should even open that.
But we say that, but
I know. I say it. People say it every year.
Because there's a quarterback we're not even talking about that might be better than one of those 4, and one of those 4 ends up being a 5th round pick.
Yes,
you were talking about Drew Aller being a number 1 pick in a draft.
And Nuss and Club Nick and yeah. But the thing is, BP is there's like 8 to 10 names already that people I trust think are first rounders next year. So 4 of them will stink or get hurt, and another guy will pop up that we don't even know. And Arch will be by far number 1, and I priced myself out of Arch because Miami's so bad they're not going to trade him no matter what because it's a luck-like thing.
If Arch came out this year, would he still go ahead of Mendoza?
I think so.
Even though he didn't have as good of a year?
Yeah. But like Ohio State's got a guy. I mean, like they're everywhere. Or Oregon went back. South Carolina. But
if his name was Fernando Manning, we'd be talking about him differently, I think.
End of the year got a lot better. I watched him a fair amount, and I think everyone just remembers that Ohio State game.
Right. Yeah, that was tough because that was early in the season.
Yes, and everyone in the plant was watching. So maybe that's not enough.
That's not enough.
What if I don't give you the second? I'll give you 1 for 2 Wilson and next year's first.
So I would need if I'm the Raiders, I would need at least to do it this year. I would need the pick swap from 1 to 2, and I would need 2 more first round picks.
Wilson to me is at least worth a first round pick. Do you agree?
Yeah.
A generic middle of the first.
So the Jets keep 16 and give up Wilson and next year's first and number.
I think they say yes.
And then I think you got to throw in a second or something. Because if you're keeping 16, something else has got to hurt this year.
I would even go from 1 to 16. You don't even have to give me 2.
Well, here's the thing with 2 is you can trade down and get more picks.
Oh, I'd love it. But I would trade you Mendoza for 16, Garrett Wilson, and next year's first. And the Jets would say yes.
The Jets would for sure say yes on that. That's why it's too quick.
But it makes me such a better team.
It's got to hurt. It has to be painful how much the Jets give up. Like, oh my gosh, this is a haul. Not like, oh, here's a couple of firsts. Because people do that.
I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible and be like in the
Rams
end, is
that up for Jared Goff when they traded up. It's got to be a bigger offer than that.
That's 3 really important pieces, and I need as many as I can get.
In the end, what we're finding out is it's not going to happen because it's got to be too crazy of an offer, right?
See, I think we disagree. Like, if I'm the Raiders GM,
the Raiders would that easily just be listening to offers and be like, okay, that's a valuable offer.
I think they should. I don't think they will.
Okay.
I mean, it's bad for fan base. I'm just talking about if I could build the best team I can for 3 years from now.
What's the trade then? And then we're gonna play it out next.
Wilson? I think my bottom line is give me 16, Wilson, and next year's first. And the Jets would do that in a heartbeat. I bet they do it right now.
Let's make it 2 Wilson and next year's first.
I think that's a haul. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's what we're gonna do. 2, because it's got to be. It's got to hurt more.
I can convince you on that, right?
2 Wilson next year's first. Let's just go with that. It's simple, and then see what it looks like for the Raiders.
Okay.
All right, there we go. We're gonna play it out mock draft style next. This episode of NFL Six Pack is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. And welcome to, we're talking draft here. How about the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft? We're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which might be sleepers. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and only one is going to take the top spot. And by the way, 5 Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors and something new that you might love. Some new flavors like cotton candy, confetti craze, fruity rainbow. Matt, what is your number one pick if you had the first pick in the flavor draft? What's the Mendoza of 5 Hour Energy flavors?
It's actually the luck. I mean, it's an easy one for me.
Oh, okay.
I have loved sour apple Jolly Ranchers my whole life. Okay. And the 5 Hour sour apple to 5 Hour Energy is like every bit as good.
There you go.
Way more benefits, you know.
An apple that bites back.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan.
You would not trade that for any draft picks in future years or otherwise. I'm
just consuming it at the first overall pick immediately.
I'm a pomegranate guy myself. Slightly tart, maybe a little less candy-like. What is your favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy? Find it at 5hourenergy.com. Find your new flavor at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Here we go, Matt. Mock draft time. We're bringing it up on the screen, and the Raiders.
Can I say one thing before we do this, which might carry over to next week's conversation if we keep this up? Getting a player back, a young player back, to me is important in this equation. It doesn't have to be all picks, but the Wilson part makes a lot of sense to me. And frankly, if I were to talk to the Dolphins, Browns, or Cardinals, I want Waddle. I want Marvin Harrison Jr. I want Schlesinger. Like, those are the names I pulled up. Like, I want somebody that I know is at least good, and because I can pay him, you know, and I can pay him after this contract,
right?
You know, and it gives me a little bit of respectability. It helps me build my nest for next year's quarterback too. So I would like to get a player.
So, and the Jets keep pick 16 in this scenario as well. So
yeah,
I think this is a really
and they have 2 firsts next year.
Yeah, and they still have 2 firsts, right? So this doesn't even crush you if you're the Jets, which
I think they might say yes.
Which is why they could make the craziest offer, and why the Raiders could really take the Jets to the cleaners in the end. I think they could get more than this, to be honest with you.
Wow. I would do it for sure if I was the Raiders at this
According
point.
to the stick to the model draft sim, which I love it because they give players value as well.
That's pretty cool.
Draft pick compensation. It would lean towards the Raiders side of this on a normal, using the draft pick trade chart and stuff. So pick 2, next year's first, and Garrett Wilson for the Jets to move up to number 1.
The Raiders could throw in a third and make it a little bit more palatable. You know,
and that's what the Raiders would do. Like, we can't do another first. And it's like, well, we're going to throw you something else to make it so you have to give us another first too, or we're not.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it simple. And I think the Raiders could even get more than this. But this is what it would look like. We are forcing this trade through, and now we're on to the mock draft. Fernando Mendoza, number 1 to the New York Jets. Now, what do the Raiders do here at number 2?
I love Reese, but I would be with you and be like, well, I might use every bit of the clock and see if I go down a spot, you know.
Those pesky Rams are offering pick 13 and 29 and number 61 to go from 13 all the way up to 2 now to get some sort of a star player. You also have a future pick from Washington who wants to go up from 7 to number 2. Which one of these trades do you like if you're the Raiders? And I agree. You're absolutely open for business to move down again. I would take that Rams deal for sure. The future pick by it is next year's first. So you've got next year's first from Washington and pick 7 to come up to 2, or do you want 2 firsts this year, 13 and 29 plus number 61 from the Rams to go from 13 to 2?
I would take both, but I think I like the Washington one better.
You're looking at that future. So now the Raiders have 3 potentially high
next
picks.
Year.
Washington could be a good team though still. So that might not be
they could
the top half of the first round pick.
But it's not insane in this draft to say I might get the player I take at 2 at 7.
True. You're in the same category of player, whereas 13 you're in a different conversation.
I think you're outside the true first round grade guys.
And probably pick 29 is about as late as the Washington pick might be next year too. So you probably get an earlier pick on that, but you don't get the extra second, late second.
Now, I do think the Raiders roster is so bad that they could be one of the teams that actually makes like 13 picks and they all make the team.
True. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
some
then
teams couldn't handle that.
Could go in free agency and do some things and blows people around. All right. So taking that Washington pick, now have 3 first-round picks in 2027, and the Raiders are now on the clock at pick 7. Do you go best player available? We talking Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love? Ruben Bain still on the board. David Bailey still on the board.
Of course, there's no way you take Love.
You already got your receiver, right? Yeah, Love is not. Shouldn't have taken Genty last year. Definitely shouldn't take Love this year. Is Love better than Genty? Which one would you?
I think they're real similar.
Yeah.
I probably slightly prefer Love, but I'm probably holding last year against Genty too much.
Right.
I think I'd take Downs. I know that he's a safety, but he might be the best player in the draft.
The quarterback of your defense, since you didn't draft the quarterback of your offense this year, man.
Side note, BP, we haven't even traded Max Crosby yet. We can trade him for more first and more cap space. Yeah.
Now we're taking Bailey or Bain if that's part of the whole scenario.
Right.
We don't have time to do that.
I said we don't have time for that.
We're running out of time. But man, more firsts potentially if you really want to go down that path. But let's not do that part of it. This is just the Fernando trade or the number 1 pick trade. But I guess end would have to be considered. Do you go edge? Do you go?
I would take Downs. I think he's a way better prospect than the other guys out there.
All right. Downs is the pick. And now, see, it's tough because you got to wait. All that value's in the future. All you've done is taken one player. After
I got Garrett Wilson too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You got Garrett Wilson, but you've only selected. You're in the second round now, pick 36. You still only taken one guy as you would have in the draft. So you got to be patient. Like this is a future payoff.
Well, didn't we get the Jets? Didn't we get the Colts pick in the first round with the original trade? We didn't 16? Have. Oh no, we got 2. I'm sorry. Okay,
right, and then
2 turned into 7.
That turned into 7 and another future.
And Wilson. Okay,
that's why you take 2 instead of 16 because now you just got an extra free first.
And now the rest of the draft were kind of boring. Like we're not going to get an awesome draft grade this year.
Messidor, knowing that there's an edge rusher that's going to be gone.
He's old though, and I'm not. I think he's more of a contender type guy.
High-end potential future offensive tackle,
yes.
Mac Hanacor.
I love that dude, and right. I would definitely be drafting an O-lineman very high.
Yep.
And he's more of a right than a left, which is perfect for what I'm doing with Colton Miller.
Then you have pick 67. We just go in best player available. You already got a tight end, so that's not going to be it. You go guard. Chase Basantis still there.
I'm shocked he's still there. I would definitely have 2 high picks, I would think, on the O-line.
Building the nest for that future quarterback that you don't have.
And oh, by the way, we've already spent like $100 million in free agency money too.
Right. Yeah. You brought in a lot of players at a lot of positions. And
hopefully I'm smart about it and they're young.
All right. This is going to be our last pick here.
All right.
Add some speed. The fastest player in the draft in Brennan Thompson, Mississippi State wide receiver. Not very big, but extremely
We've added Wilson and we have some other young dudes, but Al Davis would be proud of us.
That's true. Yeah. He would be into that. Garrett Nussmeier.
No, I'm not taking a quarterback.
Okay. You're not. What if you get lucky and Nussmeier's better than
all of them?
Better than Fernando Mendoza after all of that.
I mean, I might still do like a Mac Jones trade.
Yeah, Mac Jones. Mac Jones is now your quarterback.
Yeah. Like that already happened. I think that would be.
Well, actually, yeah, maybe the Basantis pick isn't even there because you already did that. And then, which in this case, you take.
But the key is our resources going forward, and we have Garrett Wilson. I mean, my new quarterback's probably got a decent line. You'd hope. Bowers, Genty, and Wilson.
Actually here we're going to redo. I love this feature. You can undo the pick. This is Mac Jones now.
Okay.
We're running out of time.
As long as I'm getting Messidor or the offensive tackle, I'm happy.
Yeah. Hanacor. Got that one. So you're trading. Where are we at here? Pick 3, third round pick, high third round pick, which I think is the proper value potentially for Mac Jones.
Yeah. I mean, the Niners say yes to that, I think.
Yeah, and it looks like a fair deal according to the trade chart here. So yeah, the Niners did that one, and then so what's funny is you still only have a couple players to show for your draft throughout all of them. That's why you probably need 2 and 16.
But you have Washington, the Jets, and the Raiders first round pick.
How about Kyle Lewis, the linebacker from Pittsburgh?
That works.
Yeah, add a little piece to your defense.
Yeah. More team speed. Put him in banks there. Get some speed on the.
We're only going through 4 rounds here. A couple fourth rounds pick. Ooh, Logan Jones, center of the future, maybe.
I think Powers Johnson's going to be your center.
Well,
I wouldn't mind like a defensive tackle.
You tackle. You got Chris McClellan from Missouri. You got Tim Keenan out of Alabama. Another speedy wide receiver, Kevin Coleman. You got Tyreek Sapp from Florida on the defensive line. I mean, we're talking later 4th round pick.
Yeah, I'm looking for big people that are probably going to be rotational dudes, but valuable, you know.
Zane Durant is a pass rushing interior lineman, but a rotational guy. Harold Perkins.
I don't know enough about those D tackles, so I would trust the software and just be like, give me the best D tackle on the board.
Best D tackle on the board. We're going Chris McClellan, Missouri.
Okay.
In that case. Okay.
Which is underwhelming. Raiders fans are like, we gave up Mendoza for this?
Oh, right. They have another 4th round pick. Forgot. Oh, how about guard Bo Stevens from Iowa?
Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
Two potential starting O linemen would go a long way.
Building the nest.
Yeah,
so
build that nest.
You got Caleb Downs, Max Honachor. You traded for Mac Jones, who's the interim right now and might be quickly replaced after the 2027 draft. And you have next year's Washington pick.
Yep.
You have your own next year's 1st round pick. You got Garrett Wilson, and you have, most importantly, the Jets pick next year that even with Fernando Mendoza in tow will probably lose a lot of games. And now you have the opportunity to potentially draft the quarterback. 3 1st round picks. And now instead of the Jets running the draft next year, now the Las Vegas Raiders run next year's better draft, potentially even a better quarterback payoff than Fernando Mendoza.
And after Mac Jones looks good, you trade him again.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah. You got Mac throwing to Wilson and Bowers this year too.
Agent, did you do a deal? Did you do the short-term deal where it's like, okay, here's a 3-year contract? Mm-hmm. You have the money to do it. But that's what you do actually. That's what you do. You keep Jones even through 2027 as the stopgap. And then maybe even at the deadline or after 2027, then you trade him because you signed him to a 3-year deal and he's already a couple of years into it.
And you could take like the super raw but unbelievable upside quarterback next year.
Yes.
The Josh Allen that comes out, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You're way better, Raiders fans, if you say yes to this.
This is better than Fernando Mendoza. And I think, I think they could possibly get more. Like, I think even 16 could be thrown in on top of it. It would.
And we definitely could have figured out a deal where you started with 2. Or with 16. I mean, yeah.
Right.
But I want next year's 1st for sure.
Next year's 1st has to be a part of it.
And I really want Wilson.
And maybe they say, well, okay, we will draft the receiver. We don't want Wilson. We'll take 2, 16, and next year's 1st. And again, I think that's a minimum of what this would look like.
Yeah, right. You might feel squeeze more. You know,
spare change. Are we agreeing it's better for the Raiders if they get a Godfather offer from the Jets, or maybe it looks more like a Marvin Harrison Jr. and number 3 and next year's 1st from the Cardinals, right?
Right.
Make a similar kind of an offer.
Similar again. Give me Schlesinger and the Browns 2 firsts, but I definitely want the next year 1st from all those teams.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I think it is better. And last nugget with how the players we ended up, I know Downs is not more valuable than Mendoza, but I bet every team in the league has a higher grade on him. You might get the best prospect in the draft still, the way this went. I know it's safety.
At least in the tier of who are the best players in this draft. Mendoza, it's Downs, Love, that kind of thing.
You got a blue chip guy, and there's only 4 or 5 of them,
There you go. Let us know what you think at BD Peacock, at Williamson NFL. Let us know in the YouTube comments whether you're a Raiders fan, a Jets fan. I'm sure Raiders fans have already bought their Mendoza jerseys. And so this is a tough sell once you get in that mental space where this is our guy, this is our quarterback. All of the responses about the Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson stuff from Raiders fans, Matt, were like, no way. We want Mendoza. We don't want this other quarterback. And so there, and again, you could, if you want more picks, Max Crosby could be traded for more picks.
I think I would. I'd definitely be moving him too.
To be honest with you, potentially, with Mac Jones, Mac Jones, Clint Kubiak, obviously it's a nice fit. You might have a better team already than you had last year.
I think you do.
You're already getting better, and you have 3 first-round picks next year.
Better coaching with Mac Jones throwing to Wilson, Bowers, and Genty with a respectable O-line. That's better than what you had. And you got a ton of picks.
Matt, on his way to the NFL Scouting Combine. We've got more pre-post Combine mock drafts. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what these prospects look like up close and personal. So stick around, stay tuned, subscribe to the NFL Six Pack, and we'll be back next week. It's Combine time. The NFL Six Pack.